Mr. Pocket, a multiversal being with godlike powers, needed heroes and villains for his quest to save the multiverse. But first, these champions would need to go on their own journey. Aiding this, he combined the two universes into one. We know these as the Marvel and DC universes. This event will be known as Union Day, and here we have stories of heroes and villains living their lives after Union Day. Before Union Day and the new history made by the fusion of the two universes, we have heroes and villains known to all, and some we've never seen before. Now let us dive into Tiger Tail's Marvel and DC Unionverse.
The Fragments of Guilt. Journey of Mars Morales. Chapter 4. A World Ruled by Willpower. Part 1. It had been 2 weeks since the Putty invasion. I woke up and I stretched my body as best I could. My body felt tight and tense. I hadn't explored the multiverse since the invasion, but the time had come for me to continue my adventures. My 4 new housemates kept to themselves mostly. I would try to rally them together, but of course I had my job to do. And honestly, I think it was healthy that they had some time to reflect and work on their issues. I got dressed into my Spider-Man suit and jumped out of my window, and I loaded the multiverse cartridge into my web shooter and I shot the web. It opened a portal, and with a normal web shot, I swung through it and landed in a new universe, landing on a rooftop. Instantly, I got a sense of dictatorship. There were people flying around, they're all glowing green and stuck in 3-man squads, keeping to a certain routine. There were people, ordinary civilians, walking around, but they were all timid and shy, walking with a sense of fear hung over each person. I crouched down and watched as 2 men snatched an old lady's purse. My body pushed itself to respond. I was about to launch off the roof and get the purse back when suddenly 2 men floated down to the purse snatchers. I then got a good glimpse of their armour and the logo that was placed on their chests. They were Green Lanterns. I met a few of them on Union Day, but I did not recognise any of these. They were human, but neither of them were Hal, John or Jessica or any of the other ones I'd met. Both Green Lanterns held their fists up and their glowing rings were now visible. "Halt! By the name of the Green Lantern Corps, you are under arrest. Resistance will result in death," they both said in unison. Both of the robbers turned around in panic and ran away in the opposite direction, dropping the purse in the process. One of the Green Lanterns made a minigun construct and bullets sprayed forward and hit both the robbers, both of them dropping to the floor as blood splattered over the concrete. One robber laid there lifeless, whilst the other started to slide across the ground, trying to fight through the pain. The other Green Lantern made a giant multi-ton weight, dropping it on the injured thug, and blood erupted from underneath the weight. I stood there in absolute horror. These Green Lanterns were dominating the planet, dictating everyone with a glowing green fist. I turned around and paced the roof. I didn't know what to do. I could intervene, but I could end up in some trouble. My spider sense started rippling through my skull, and I looked up and saw a Green Lantern floating down to me. "Boss, we have a suit in the down district on the roof of the jewelers. Engaging," the Green Lantern said into his ring. I dropped down low, readying myself. "We haven't had a Spider-Man around these parts in a few years. So who are you, and where are you from?" the Green Lantern asked me. "Spider-Man, from another universe, at your service," I quipped. "You do not belong here," the Green Lantern barked. "Let me just open a portal and I'll be on my way home," I said in a dead tone. "And risk you bringing an army, causing chaos, bringing hell to our universe? Fat chance. You're coming with me," the Green Lantern snapped. He aimed his ring, and the green clamp appeared around my feet, keeping me in place. I shot several webs at the Green Lantern, but he made a shield construct which blocked each one. I shot a single web and it hit his ankle, and I pulled with all my strength and he came flying towards me. I then threw my fist and punched him in the face, and he crashed onto the roof, and the clamp construct dematerialized, letting me free. The Green Lantern turned and aimed his ring, and a bright flash illuminated from the ring, and I covered my eyes, but my spider sense vibrated my skull. My vision was now blurred thanks to the flashbang, but I managed to jump back as my vision cleared. I saw the Green Lantern fly at me. A knuckle duster construct formed around his knuckles. His fist made contact, the impact threw me back, and I crashed into the next building, breaking through the window, landing in the living room. I stood up and quickly turned to see the old couple sat on their sofa, stunned, staring at me. "Sorry, my bad," I told them. I quickly jumped up and shot a web, pulling myself through the broken window that I'd just broken, and I landed on the roof to find it empty. I looked around and saw no sign of the Green Lantern. My spider sense rang, and I could sense the danger, but I could not see it. Then, in a glimmer of green, the Green Lantern became visible with two spiked maces. He swung both of them, and I had a split second to hop backwards, dodging the attack. His invisible stunt gave me an idea. I dodged and weaved his swings, and then I turned invisible myself. The Green Lantern looked around in a battle stance. I slowly tiptoed around him, and then quickly became visible. At the same time, I charged my fist with my bioelectricity, and I threw my fist out, smacking the Green Lantern in the face. He crashed to the floor, and his ring dimmed, and his Green Lantern armor suit phased away, and he lay unconscious as a normal man. That was surprisingly easy, I muttered. I noticed that the Green Lantern made basic constructs, and they weren't as diverse as Hal, John, or the other Green Lanterns I'd met during Union Day in my universe. I looked across the city and saw many Green Lanterns flying through the air, and I focused my attention on the tallest building in the city. I didn't see it before, but I definitely saw it. The tallest building had a massive Green Lantern battery monument on the top. The world is dominated by Green Lanterns, and judging by this newbie, they're recruiting anyone who's worthy, I muttered out loud. Suddenly, I saw a blur zoom through the streets. It was dripping with lightning, and it was yellow in colour. I instantly recognised it. The Reverse Flash was here in this universe now as well, which meant I would have to stay around. Reverse Flash zoomed towards the Green Lantern Tower. I dropped my head in annoyance, and with a slight sigh leaving my lips, I then jumped off the roof and I shot a web, and I swung my way towards the tower. I landed on the window of the 15th floor. I peeked in and saw an empty corridor, and I managed to shimmy the window up. As I climbed in, I turned invisible and jumped up to the ceiling and crawled across the corridor. Two men barged in and marched through. They looked like men in suits, but had Green Lantern rings on. I automatically assumed they were both bodyguards. I stayed cloaked and I crawled above them. I reached the door and dropped to the ground and crept through the doors and entered a rather large room. I launched high into the air and landed on the chandelier gently so it didn't sway too much. I surveyed the room and saw some pinkish red-skinned alien sat on the throne. I had met him during my version of Union Day, but he had a different ring on, and he was a Yellow Lantern in my universe. This one matched the rest of the city. He was a Green Lantern, and suddenly his name came to mind. His name was Sinestro. "I know you're there, Spider-Man," Sinestro muttered. I hung there shocked and slightly confused how he knew I was there, but I did become visible, and I dropped down to the floor, landing in front of him. "Why is there a Spider-Man from another universe sneaking around my city?" Sinestro growled. "Why is there a city ran by you?" I asked back. "During Union Day, John Stewart died in battle. After some more upsetting events, I was granted John's ring. I saw life before me, and it was brighter with me in charge. The willpower gave me visions of a world where it was balanced and true. I am Earth's savior." Sinestro grinned. "But I saw dictatorship, not leadership," I noted. Sinestro stood and his ring started to glow. "Look, I ain't here to cause any issues, or even get involved. I'm just a researcher exploring the effects of Union Days upon multiverses. But I do have an enemy. We have a common enemy, the Reverse Flash in my universe. I do believe he's here, now, in your city. He's been eradicating universes, and I've seen it. It's deadly. And I've seen him here running around," I told him. Sinestro kept his face as stern as possible, but behind his eyes I could see it. He was contemplating what I had just said. Sinestro glared at me. He raised his ring, and I automatically jumped back, my spider sense making me move like it was my puppeteer. A massive death trap construct snapped closed below where I once stood. Several massive gun constructs formed around Sinestro, and each one opened fire. I shot a web, and I pulled myself into the air as I turned invisible, and I started weaving through the bullet constructs that bombarded me. I shot a web and pulled myself forward, slingshotting myself towards Sinestro, and I charged my bioelectricity in my fist and threw a punch. Sinestro made a shield and I made contact. My lightning danced around the surface of the construct as he shoved his hand out, and the shield grew and pushed me back. I hit the ground. I jumped to my feet before either of us could make another move. There was a blur of yellow lightning and I was in another room. I looked around and I was in some form of apartment. It was dusty, old, and barely lived in. Seemed like it was abandoned. I looked across from me, and there sat awkwardly in pain, his body rivering with it. Around his neck was some kind of collar. His body was vibrating on and off like it couldn't decide. He looked weak, tired, and battered. He had been tortured, and he was pleading for my help. I stood there before the Reverse Flash, feeling slightly dizzy from the rush of being saved by the Speed Force. and an enhanced speedster at that. I stood there really confused by the sight before me.
What you have just listened to is a product created by the Three Ranger Bros Studio.
Hosted by three cosplaying fathers who
happen to be massive geeks of all sorts of fandoms.
They are Mark, the Red Cornish Ranger,
Cosplay Dude 637,
and Tiger.
The studio covers different types of YouTube videos, TikToks, podcasts, and live streams.
If you wish to find out who cosplays who, the YouTube channels, the TikTok accounts, and the podcasts, and all of the other social media platforms,
please go to the 3rangerbrostudios.com.